Every time you try and buy something, it's now getting more expensive versus your wages. So many people of your age are seeing this with housing. It's like, fuck, how are we ever supposed to do that? That whole equation of the mismatch of asset prices, which is your future self, and where you are today, is what's driving the speculation economy. So US citizens spent $108 billion on lottery tickets last year. 108 billion. It's a 1 in 300 million probability of winning the big lottery. And maybe winning $1 million is, I don't know the actual odds, but let's call it 1 in 50 million. Okay, you can take those odds, or you can go to the meme coin casino of the Wild West, and you will get better odds. And that's what people have done. They've done it with single day options in tech stocks. They've done it with options in general. And they've done it with crypto. And it's much easier to speculate in something that has a trend as opposed to a random distribution. Right? So if it's trending, even if you buy generalized shit, you can make money in crypto at this point.
Macroeconomic expert Raoul Pal just revealed the real reason crypto is about to explode, and it's probably something you are experiencing yourself. Over the past 2 to 3 decades, the cost of living all over the globe has gotten completely out of control. Wages have stayed the same whilst asset prices have soared. Young people can no longer afford homes or basic assets, and even basic needs such as food and heating have gotten extremely expensive. This has resulted in the deterioration of quality of life of normal everyday people all over the world. What does this all lead to? Speculation and risk-taking. If you follow all the rules and are still unable to afford a good quality of life, it forces people to move out onto the risk curve and try and gamble on a better life. This is what fuels the speculation economy, such as gambling or buying lottery tickets. In 2023 alone, the United States spent $108 billion on lottery tickets. Is this speculation and debasement of money that is going to fuel the rise of crypto and risky assets such as meme coins? However, crypto has one thing that the lottery or gambling doesn't have. The odds are actually in your favor as it's following a trend upwards, whereas the lottery or gambling is merely a complete randomness. This is why you are still early to crypto and why it's the biggest gift in terms of wealth generation of all time. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video where Raoul breaks down not only his current crypto portfolio, but he also breaks down where we are in the cycle. Also guys, if you want to check out Raoul's channel, check out the first link in the description and be sure to subscribe because it's pure gold. Now here's Raoul on the real reason crypto is going to explode.
And this is what people also don't understand is, okay, so we try and educate them, say, listen, if you want, just buy some Bitcoin or some ETH. Let's use Bitcoin as easy numbers. So they've got 10 grand in savings. They can't buy a house, they can't make a deposit, they can't do any of it. So then they look at Bitcoin and say, where do you think Bitcoin's going to go? $1 million. Okay, that's a 14x. My 140 grand in 5 years' time probably still won't get me the deposit on a house. So what do? They look for bigger risk rewards. And they're not given the tools because a lot of people are new investors. They don't really know. And this is one of the things that, you guys do and we do at Real Vision is really try and say, okay, if you're going to speculate, you're going to take more risk. We're not going to judge you for it, but we're going to try and help you do it. And this is this whole don't fuck this up thesis that I've got on my t-shirt. The fastest growth of number of users, i.e. adoption of any asset class in history. The largest price appreciation in returns of any asset class in history, right? This thing is an alien. And it is the biggest gift to people. And I've talked about this for almost a decade now. Oh, from a decade from when we started Real Vision. This is an absolute fucking gift. So what are you supposed to do to take the gift? Don't fuck it up. And what that means is own the large crypto that have proven network effects. There are only 3 with network effects right now that are fully proven out. Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana has come into that fray and has got provable network effects. There are many others that have some elements of network effects that are slightly lower down. Okay, but let's assume you could put your money in those 3, you'll be fine. Put 90% of your assets there. They will go up well. If you did an equally weighted basket, you'll do very well, thank you very much. 10%, feed you in a degen, do what the fuck you want. You will learn very quickly, like all of us have. You will end up with a wallet of shame in 2026, and you'll look at it and go, really? Did I own that shit? But you'll have had fun doing it. You'll have learned a bunch of lessons, and who knows, you might get the 100x. You probably won't. You know, you'll see somebody on Twitter getting it and you'll think it can be me, and you'll do the rotations at the wrong time. But this way, you get to participate in the madness because it's kind of fun. But what can you lose? 10%. What's the rest of your portfolio going to do? 5x? You'll be fine. So don't fuck this up, that is one. Secondly, don't use leverage. Leverage is just a way of you to have your coins taken away from you. Your one job is not to lose your coins. Right? You just hold them for the longest period of time, the more money you will make over time. So just don't let anybody have your coins. That's why I don't use DeFi. You know, anything that is involving yield is taking an extra risk. Staking is different. You've got the currency risk in staking, which is your ETH goes down or your SOL goes down or whatever it is. But I assume people are prepared to do that because they're already in those assets anyway. But once you start getting to restaking or all sorts of different stuff, you're assuming a different risk from the market in which you may have to part with your coins. That is rule number one. Don't park with your coins. Do that in your 10% bucket. If you want to play around with DeFi, do that. But just don't part with your coins. This was the same thing about what happened with all the sexes and the centralized exchanges. What happened with everything is that. The other thing is self-custody. At worst, leave it on Coinbase. It's a government monopoly. But at best, self-custody. Don't part with your coins. I've had money in MF Global when that blew up as a bank. I lost all of my investments. And it took 7 years of court cases to get them back. And everyone's going through that now in crypto. If you're in this for the long run, accept them. Don't even care about them. I didn't do a damn thing over the last down cycle because I've been through one before. So I skipped one. I've done 2 out of the 3. So I've earned my stripes. But I did what I didn't do the first one. I did properly this time, which was I bought as much as I could, given whatever cash flow I could get in the depths of the bear market. And I bought 2 things. One was Ethereum and one was Solana. And I did exactly that, and it compounded my returns. So before anywhere near the markets were through all-time highs, I was through all-time highs. I did the right thing. And people think they can be clever and cute. They think, oh, I'm going to time this thing. We've already talked about how difficult crypto fall is. Do you have a spike? Does it finish early? You don't know. The easier game is to say, I don't care. I'm just going to continue buying it. But then there's another thing is like, some people, they're particularly in the first cycle or even the second cycle, it starts to really matter. Like, I can do with this cash. I want to buy a house. I want to do it. Do that. If you're lucky enough, you could sell half your portfolio, completely secure lifestyle gains in whatever that means to you. And then you just run the rest and enjoy the bear market for the ridiculousness that it is. All of the drama, who's going to go bust, whose leverage got caught out, all of that. Just go with it. It doesn't matter. As long as you're self-custodying your tokens, it really, none of it touches you. You just kind of laugh at it and then try and add to it. So you take some off the table if you want. I didn't purposely because I did not want to take anything off the table. I wanted to just keep adding to it. Because here's a different thing. So let's say you've put $1,000 in, it goes up to $10,000, you're feeling amazing, and you time the top. You time the top, you take it out, your $1,000 means a lot to you, and the market's now down 75%. You will not put in $1,000. You just won't do it. Everybody psychologically thinks, well, I just take out the top and buy it back down. You won't. You'll put in $100. And then before you know it, you're chasing it all the way up and you've just fucked the whole thing up to start with. You just don't need the stress. So take some chips off the table, just run the rest and then add when you can. Things that are getting adoption that are earlier on the adoption curve outperform. So ETH killed it last cycle as a chain going from, it's been proven now, it's gone through its bad times, Lindy effect in play, okay, now it then exploded 47x from the low, right? And then established itself firmly as the second most dominant player in the space. if you remember last cycle, there was 3 breakouts, really. Well, 4. One was Luna, that went. 3 breakouts. One was Solana, one was Avalanche, and the other was probably Polygon. Now, who was the winner? Well, the one that got the most adoption ended up being Solana. It was the one that came from the bottom down 97.5% from this cycle, like ETH was the previous cycle. It's gone into now accepted as an adopted ecosystem at scale. Who's the next one? Who's the next Solana, the next ETH of this cycle? That's where the real money gets made. Because those first cycle, you got nothing to compare it against. You can't say, oh, it's already up 5x versus its all-time high. You've got nothing, just blue sky charts. And that's why you tend to get these ridiculous first-time runs, like Solana last time. And I'm very interested in what that's going to be. I've got 2 or 3 ideas what it might be, but who the hell? I mean, I'm just not good at this bit. I'm good at the next bit, which is see what's getting adoption properly. And then that trade is relatively easy. This trade is more difficult to figure out what is it going to be. You know, listening to people like Chris Beniski, Melton Demirez, seeing what I've seen with stuff like the Sui Foundation, I go with the thesis that there are 2 ecosystems that are probably going to be in the race here. The layer 1 race, you know, the big adoption, because layer 2s is a different conversation. I think it's the Move protocol. That's the Sui Aptos, you know, may the best man win kind of game there, because it's different, it has a lot of different use cases. And then there's Cosmos, Celestia, and others. Those feel like, okay, that's the game to be played. Maybe Avalanche again, but doesn't feel like it should have happened. It got it last cycle, doesn't feel like it's getting full scale adoption. It's kind of in that lower tier. You know, layer 2s, that's a whole different game being played out, but that's not this game. So that's how I'm thinking about it. And there could be something else entirely that I've missed just because it's not on my radar screen, because, you know, when it happens fast. So cast your mind back to the previous time. Okay, where are we? April the 10th. Half of everybody was still in lockdown at that point. We hadn't had the halving. In fact, Bitcoin was still on its way down, I think, by April the 10th. I can't remember what that flush out date was. It was maybe now. Maybe it was April the 10th, 2020. I can't remember. It was something like that. So I would say, yes, it's early for retail. I don't get many messages. I still have cynical friends saying, look, God, be careful with this stuff. You know, I don't get them FOMOing yet. We will all know because you get those messages. I've had a few, but a lot of them because they've, you know, whether it's family members and stuff, they've kind of kept an eye on this thing for a while, but otherwise, no, retail's not in. And you know how I can tell? The easiest way is Coinbase Active Wallets. So they have 110 million wallets, or accounts, sorry. And as of about 9 months ago, there was 9 million actives. I haven't checked the last quarterly numbers, but let's assume it's like 10 or 11 million. And speaking to the guys at Coinbase, they're like, yeah, probably, assuming the market doesn't grow, which of course it will, it should be at 35, 40 million. Now, okay, the ETF takes some of that, but, you know, most young people won't just buy Bitcoin. It doesn't take long before they're straight out the risk curve buying WIF and then derivatives of WIF. And then, you know, people shouldn't emulate me because I've got a lot of experience with risk taking and I'm comfortable with the risk that I'm taking. I don't use leverage. You know, I use external custody, multi-sig, all of the things, you know. So, and I'm very focused on my thesis, which is, you're dead right. It's the network thesis. So I then look at charts of assets relative to each other. So I was looking at the Bitcoin ETH chart, which I follow closely, which has been underperforming, and I think it's basing, as we talked about. But the chart to me that was a standout in 2022 was the Sol ETH chart. And that was the chart that got me buying Solana and then going all in. much like I went into ETH all in about September 2020. I just did it earlier in Solana. And so I am 80% sold. All of my ETH is now NFTs. I've been buying high-end art NFTs. I then have a bunch of the portfolio in the fund of hedge funds in Exponential Age Asset Management. And I have 1% in stupid shit like WIF and Doge and Bonk. Got all of those, but that's 1%. So even when I post about it on Twitter, I'm sure some joker in 2026 is saying, you were recommending WIF. Just to be clear, I've got in all of meme coins and everything else, 1% of my portfolio. I'm 90%, 80% Solana.
So there's Raoul Pal's insights into the real macroeconomic factors driving the rise of crypto. As he explained, the soaring cost of living and stagnant wages are pushing people towards speculation and risk-taking, fueling the speculation economy. Unlike gambling or lottery tickets, crypto offers a unique opportunity with favorable odds and a clear upward trend. As we continue to navigate these challenging economic times, it's crucial to understand why crypto is poised for explosive growth and how you can take advantage of this unprecedented wealth generation opportunity. For more in-depth analysis and updates, be sure to check out Raoul's channel by clicking the first link in the description. If you enjoy financing crypto content and want to stay updated with the latest trends and strategies, please consider subscribing to this channel and liking the video. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.